Bartha. What exactly is Bartha? Well, I guess you could say we're a production company that puts on pretty amazing spectacles, shows if you will. From small corporate meetings to jam-packed arenas, we do it all. We're based out of Columbus, Ohio, and we're in show business. More accurately, we're in the business of shows, and we're doing it all over the country. Right now, I'm in the heart of Bartha, the 60,000 square foot warehouse. And as you can see, it's filled with some serious lighting, audio, and video gear. Bottom line, we do events, production, and staging. We produce shows pertaining to or involving both sight and sound. Now that's the textbook definition of Bartha. But if you really want to know who we are and what we do, we've got to go back to where it all started.
Bartha Visual got started from Toledo, Ohio, where Bernie Kuzno was the owner of Kuzno Communications and hired my dad, Steve Bartha, who at the time was a school principal. Bernie wanted to open a Columbus office for Kuzno Communications. After a year, he decided that Columbus wasn't a place for Kuzno, and Dad had the opportunity to buy the company, which then became Bartha Visual Education Service. Started in 1946 at 1946 North High Street, right in the heart of Ohio State campus. Then we started selling film projectors, simple portable sound systems, slide projectors, film strip projectors. When the business started, it was basically my dad. As the business expanded in the early 60s, hired a aggressive, upcoming typewriter salesman, Walt Fritz. He was the longest employee that we had and went from being the sole salesperson of the company on up to being our office manager for many years.
So Steve Bartha and Walter Fritz grew the business through the 1960s, mostly AV rentals at first, then moving into more sales and higher tech services, keeping up with customer demand at the time. Then in 1971, out of nowhere, Steve Bartha suddenly died from a heart attack at age 56, which understandably shocked everyone. It was a rough time for the Bartha family, and the future of the family business seemed to be in jeopardy. But Steve's widow Mildred had something to say about that.
It was assumed that she would find a competent man to run the business because it was a technology business and it was a businessman's world. She defied tradition in a time before women's lib was even a term. She didn't know anything about business, and she decided after Dad died, I can do this, but she did it.
Mildred had one ace in her pocket, and that was Walter Fritz. Together, along with office manager Betty Simmons, they went to work, defying tradition, operating a female-owned technical services company, which was unheard of at the time.
You know, I give my mom all the credit in the world because she had a sense of what we needed to do from a customer service standpoint, from a vendor confidence standpoint, from a customer confidence standpoint, and she just did what needed to be done, and she did a great job. Once the business was in her hands, I think one of the first strategic moves that she had to do was to identify a better location for the business, and we moved to Grandview, 1404 Holly, grew from 3 employees to 18 employees, and stayed in the Grandview area for another 25 years.
During the next 2 decades, Mildred and Walt would continue to lead the company primarily with sales. But during this time, Dan Bayshore, the shipping and receiving kid, was quietly building up the staging and rental side of the business.
In the early 80s, there was a lot of multi-image slideshows where they were syncing video and 16mm film up with slides. The equipment that you needed to do that with was very expensive, so companies were hiring audio-visual companies to go out on the road and do these shows for them. We at that time weren't established to do road shows or anything like that, but that was my goal, and I saw it being a thriving part of the business and really wanted to get involved in that.
Dan grew what started as delivery setup of simple equipment that got more and more sophisticated as time grew. There was a market in that, and we listened to him, and we took a chance at it, and it was a good opportunity.
As the media and event business grew, triggered by huge advances in technology, Bartha grew as well, adding staff and services. The company back then was called Bartha Visual.
Well, in the late 80s, we started doing traveling shows for state auto insurance. We were traveling around in about a 4 or 5 state area, and it kind of got in my blood, and it was something that I really enjoyed, and from that I decided we're going to pursue this nationally and start doing a lot more shows out on the road. Looking back, I think our key to success was hiring good people, having people that knew the show must go on at all times, and keeping good inventory, buying the best of equipment and maintaining it well.
We bought into Barco projectors and Meyer sound because we knew it was the best, so we felt like in order to keep clients for life, which was our goal, we needed to have the best possible equipment solutions for their shows.
Again, space became an issue. So in 1997, the company moved to a new location on Indianola Avenue. Bartha Visual is big time now, featuring a warehouse with not one, but 2 loading docks. More clients, more staff, more events and shows. The company was really starting to have a national presence in the industry.
Our rental and staging side of the business was just expanding faster than anyone could have imagined. I was wanting to change, and Dan came to me with a proposal to buy the company, and it would keep the same people, it would be growing with the same customer base, and it was just an exciting change all around. In 2005, we made it happen.
We knew what made Bartha great was good people, good gear, and good customer service, and we convinced Jim that we would carry it on that way.
In 2005, Bartha Visual was purchased from the Bartha family, including the Bartha name, by 3 partners under the corporate heading of BKG Holdings, Dan Bayshore, John Kalaki, and Tom Gabbard.
I think we'd put together a very successful team of investors with myself and the experience I had running the company. For years prior, I would handle the operations. Tom Gabbard, having a financial background, he would take over the finances, and John Kalaki, who's part of the operation, would take over national sales because of his background in business development.
I relocated to Columbus, Ohio from Indianapolis, and my wife and I built a house, and next door to us there's another couple building a house, and that's Dan Bayshore and Nikki, his wife. A few years move on and we become great friends and all that. All of a sudden he says, the owner's looking to sell the company. Are you interested in buying? Sure, why not? Actually, I knew the company was very solid, what a great reputation, and the decision for me was a no-brainer.
We also made Jerry Spencer a shareholder in the company and put him in charge of all sales and production.
My role was essentially to maintain the relationships with the existing clients that we had, to make sure that they knew that we were here for the long run and that they could count on us for many years to come, and that we were going to continue to reinvest and make sure that we had the highest end solutions for them.
A few months after we purchased the company, we moved to 600 North Cassidy Avenue, which put everybody under one roof for the first time in my entire career with Bartha. We had dock spaces and warehouses and scene shop and sales area. We're all connected under one roof, and it's been great ever since.
And now, this company that started well over 60 years ago does more than 300 shows a year and has over 40 employees. Of course, with this growth came some distinctive branding changes. A new logo. We simplified the company name to just Bartha and added a production team dedicated specifically to the creative content of the shows that we do, including set design and art direction, high-end motion graphics, complete broadcast quality HD video production capabilities, all of which are designed to make our shows and events completely customized for our clients.
We feel like we've now got a leg up and we're headed in the right direction. When you marry the creative with the technical that we have, it will be an unbelievable combination.
Well, now you know a little bit about this thing we call Bartha. Really, it's kind of a cool story. I think it reminds us to remember what got us here in the first place. Basically, putting quality first. You know, 65 years is a long time to be in business, but I'm thinking we're going to be good for another 65 years or so. Thanks for watching.